And welcome to another edition of the Pekin First podcast. My name is Josh, and I get the absolute pleasure of serving as the online ministries director here at Pekin First. And as you can tell, we are not in the Pekin First studio this week. Next to me is my wife, Zena.
Hi.
And we are in St. Augustine, Florida. We're actually in Crescent Beach, Florida, but just south of St. Augustine and north of Flagler Beach. Here with family, visiting family, and just kind of reconnecting as a couple. Yeah. And this is, so I brought you all on the road with me, right? Ministry doesn't stop just because it's vacation time. So this is episode 35, and it is called Distracted Marriage. Notice I'm a little distracted.
I was going to say, wow.
Very, very easy to get distracted in your marriage. And while these trips are a necessary part of our marriage, even if it's not to Florida, even if it's somewhere else. So we'll get into that in a minute. We're going to do this week's personal best. I think we got this one nailed down.
Yeah, look behind us.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and you might not be able to see clear behind us, but the beach is behind us. So we are facing the Atlantic Ocean, and it is a beautiful day here in Florida. It is a balmy 95 degrees today. So our personal best is we are here with family, visiting family after what is seemed to be, it's only half of the year, but it's what has seemed to be a very long year in our family.
Yeah.
So it was important that we all got together, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
So personal best.
Yeah.
All right. So Distracted Marriage, episode 35. This is Distracted Marriage. How distracted are you? Did you not realize that your partner just got a haircut? Just did that a couple weeks ago. Did you miss an important date? We almost both missed our
Anniversary. Yeah.
Oops. And did you aimlessly walk out of the house and forget to give your partner a kiss or even say goodbye? You let me know when I do that.
I was going to say, we're pretty good at that one, but yeah.
Absolutely. We all get distracted with the business of life, and it's hard on a marriage and a relationship. Yeah. This week we'll focus on how taking many trips or having date nights is so important for a healthy relationship. Now, disclaimer, we have both been through, this is our second marriage for both of us.
Yeah.
So you could say we're seasoned.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
We learned a lot between both marriages. As you can tell, it's hot in here. I'm sweating. But we've learned a lot, and I feel that we make an effort to make sure that our marriage is maintained, is healthy.
Yeah.
Is
a priority.
Yeah. Where I know in my previous marriage, that was 100% me. I get very distracted, very easy.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me to put my head down and just work and not pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that what we are kind of getting at is that, you go through the day-to-day life things, work, babies, and bills, and that's not what we're designed to do that's not why we're here only. Those are important things, obviously, but I think that having a priority set so that you do have your marriage listed in there is probably key to having a successful relationship with a partner for a lengthy amount of time.
And it does the golden rule for me, and one I have to remind myself very often, is God, family, and the rest will all fall into place. Yeah. And there is a very good video online about, and it's a professor, and he's pouring things into a glass jar. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this.
Yeah.
And it's, he pours a bunch of big things into the jar.
Yeah.
And
sand.
As he goes on, he says, "Is it full?" And the class says yes. And then he pours another smaller thing in, and so on and so forth until he gets to the sand, which is the smallest thing.
Yeah.
Fills the thing and says, "It's the smaller things that matter that make the bigger things fall into place."
They're more fulfilling.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Those little things can get misplaced every once in a while, though, or they can become grueling.
Correct.
Those tiny little irritations can, start to form, and those can start to help towards the distractions of marriage, I guess would be one thing to point out.
And so we both run businesses, one of our own, and then we also run you run a title company.
Management, yep.
I run a property management company. So our jobs are very, very demanding.
They're high stress level.
High stress level, very
Yeah.
demanding. It has been a year and a half since we've taken a vacation together.
Yep.
Besides going to competitions and things like that. And I think that's worth noting is the competitions that you take. And I know a lot of people who their kids are in traveling sports, and that's a huge thing these days.
Yeah.
Is to have your kid into traveling sports, and that's great and fantastic. That does not count.
Well, or it can count if you make it count. Like, do you remember when we went to Indianapolis and we enjoyed like a nice dinner? We weren't there very long. It wasn't, a big. It wasn't a big luxurious vacation, but it was a trip that we got to take that we time blocked. And I mean, if you're in management, you know what that is.
Right.
We time blocked ourselves a date night out of that event with the competition. And if I'm getting this correctly, what you're trying to say is that that's something that is important, that we have to integrate that type of an event, even though we do have the busyness of the competitions and the schedules and the kids' activities and your activities and my activities. Even if you are getting away for a business type adventure, it's supposed to be business, time block yourself and your spouse an event. And that can count, I think.
It can.
Yeah.
But when you go for the longer, such as, a year and a half ago, we were in the same place.
Yep.
Literally the same
condo,
same everything. And I felt that was the healthiest part of our marriage in quite a long time, because we came down here with no agenda.
Yeah.
It was a surprise for your birthday, so you didn't even know it was coming. So there was literally no time to make an agenda.
No planning, nothing.
Our family, some of our family knew that we were coming, only because I had told them, and it was a total surprise. And I think that was a very healthy moment in our marriage.
100%, yes.
Because there was, what do you want to do today? Yeah, let's go to Daytona, or you know what? It's cloudy out today. You told me one day it was cloudy on the beach and it was foggy, and because it was March, and let's drive west. You know what I mean? So you got to have those unplanned things that you just go, you know what?
Yeah.
I can feel our marriage
bonding better.
Or starting to split. We need to just take a minute and let's just go.
Gotcha.
And you find grandma and grandpa to watch the kids, or aunt and uncle to watch the kids, or whatever that may be, and off you go.
Yep.
You just it can be 3 hours away. It doesn't have to be to Florida. It can be 3 hours away. It can be 12 hours away. It does not matter.
Honestly, the drive, just driving around. I mean, that was, we were able to reconnect and talk about things we hadn't had a chance to talk about in a lengthy, we may have touched base with each other, but I don't know that we had a chance to communicate, our complete thoughts on topics, throughout that last year and a half. And we were able to actually sit down in the car for an hour and a half at one point, I think it was, I don't even remember. Mm-hmm. And we just talked, and, we talked in length. We talked about our future. We talked about our past. We talked about, the sights we were seeing. And it was just nice to reconnect, and chat with my spouse, like when we were dating, basically.
Correct. Yeah. It's, when you're dating, you're in full-fledged, I'll call it get mode, or
honeymoon phase.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you get married, you sometimes lose that.
Yeah.
And it can drive a wedge in between you and the kids, or you two, starting with you two, and that drives a wedge in you and the kids. The kids get further away.
Yeah.
Just things like that. Yeah. Also, it tends to start cracking the foundation of a marriage.
Right.
And you said something earlier that I guess I had posted the meme. I don't remember doing it, but the meme was, what was the meme?
The devil does not show up at your front door. He slithers through the cracks in the foundation.
That's right. And, the foundation starts to crack. The bad things start to enter a marriage. And we'll, Sean will actually touch on this in his series. He's doing a series on 10 Commandments. He'll touch on that. And just the things that can go wrong in a marriage, as far as like you said, the devil entering through the cracks, the foundation cracks in your marriage. So it's vital that you do the things you guys, we don't like to talk about our feelings, and I 100% get that. I have come out of my shell a little bit, I feel, in the past
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years, to really tell her how I'm feeling. I still don't do it 100% of the time. She will have to ask me what's wrong 10,000 times before I let it go, but I will let it go.
Well, and they're valid feelings. And, I think sometimes, I don't think that the men in our lives feel like they have the right to, I don't want to say the right, I guess, but I don't think that they have the ability to tell us exactly how they're feeling. Like, I'm really frustrated with you right now because you're making me 10 minutes late. And that's a valid feeling, that's a valid feeling. So, instead of being mad at him because he has that valid feeling, I try and hurry, that's, I'm making him frustrated. So I need to stop the activity that I'm doing, because I don't want to add to his frustration. I want to actually minimize his frustration. So telling me, a valid emotion that he's having and there's a valid activity that's going on that I need to correct is something that I think that the men in our lives need to understand they can do, and it will be okay.
and coming from the guy's side, and it's okay to don't feel afraid or feel like it's going to cause a fight if you express yourself. I guess is it's just in the manner in which we do it, which I think we both are working on.
Yes, need work.
It is a continual work in progress for us.
That is the main thing. Yeah, that's something I'm working on.
Me too. And it's the way it comes out of our mouths.
Yes.
Right. It's and just even today, driving here in Florida where we're not real familiar with everything, no offense, but every woman likes to side seat drive, and that's fine. Every girlfriend I've ever had, every female, even family members that have been in that seat, it's I think it's a natural. Whatever.
It could be. It could be a natural. It could
and
also
I do the same thing, but a little bit.
It could also be one of those little pieces of sand.
That's right.
It could also be one of those little pieces of sand that's like, okay, my goodness, stop side seat driving. You're irritating me.
Right.
and that's minuscule.
But
that's minuscule.
Correct.
Yeah,
but it's just the way that if you say something, hey, stop, you didn't mean it to come out like you were yelling.
Yes.
But it did.
Tonality.
And that's fine. Right. But
you're talking about tonality, basically.
Yes, tonality. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it kind.
Well, and like I said, in our day jobs, we have to be very direct. We have to. We're managing large-ish companies. Sure. And dealing with very important stuff. So, you're very direct. And when you come home to your spouse, you got to remember they're not your employee, they're your partner.
Yes.
And that is very hard for me, even with my family, because my family works for me. Some of my family works for me.
Not me.
Yeah, no. Some of my family work for me, and that is very hard to separate.
Yeah.
And I've been involved in a lot of family businesses, and it's hard to separate business and
family.
Mm-hmm. So, even for me, I got to watch when I'm around those particular people that work with me, that are in my family that
you turn it off.
Doesn't carry over.
Yeah,
and
you turn it off completely.
Right, I got to leave that at the curb.
You're no longer my employee. You're my daughter.
or my father or my aunt or
yes.
all those things. So
understandable.
You got to do the same thing in a marriage as well as when you come home from work, you leave work at work, and we both struggle with that. We love our careers. Mm-hmm. We love the business that we're in. Yeah. So we do talk about that a lot because we're both in the same business.
Right.
However, sometimes you just have to set that aside.
Yeah.
And have the
marriage. The marriage part,
Yeah, for sure.
We got to do the marriage part.
For sure.
One of the things that you and I had talked about that I think that might set the tone for this really well is the actual wedding. So our wedding, I know that we actually had a good friend of ours that, told us that we did a great wedding. It was, faith-based, and, there was a lot of, love felt through the wedding, and no one mentioned the reception. And I planned it that way.
Right.
We planned it that way. We wanted the focus on the wedding. We wanted the vows to mean something. We wanted, the people to feel the love that were in the crowd that were at our wedding. And I think that we set our marriage up similarly.
Agreed.
We did not plan for the party. we planned for the wedding. And I feel like that sets up the tone of our marriage. We didn't plan to have a party. We planned to have a life together. We planned to have a foundation that we built upon. And I think that when you set it up like that, you are going to set yourself up for success.
And being our second marriage, we were very, that was a very direct, like that was the one thing is, I don't want to go through the pain that we've been through
you've said
before.
That before. Yeah.
So we're going to do this
differently.
Yes. Do it differently.
100% differently.
And you know what? It takes a lot of, so for me, it takes a lot of looking myself in the mirror. And if you know my backstory and my faith story, it takes a lot of me looking in the mirror and going, if something's bothering me, is it worth upsetting the apple cart? Because is it that important? And that's the question.
Yeah.
Is it that important that it's those little things that, I get into my own head.
Yeah.
I 100%
I think it's
get into my own head.
I do. I think it's a little bit of the sand that you just have to be like, you know what? I'm not even going to put that in the bucket.
Right. It doesn't even matter.
Yep.
And it does. Some days it says,
and it will.
It takes a prayer.
Yeah.
It 100% does. I will stand in that bathroom as I'm getting ready, and I will give me patience, because I don't have a whole lot of patience. I'm getting better, but as I get older, I'm getting better. But I don't have a lot of patience. So God, give me patience, or give me the opportunity to be patient. If you heard last week, give me the opportunity to be patient.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of what it takes for me to just make sure that, as we talked about, that the words come out of my mouth are kind. And is it really that big of a deal? And we've talked about that before.
Yeah, we have. We've talked about in the last one. Yeah. Well, and I want to point out that, Josh and I had to watch a family member lose a spouse unexpectedly. And I know that when, watching that through somebody else's eyes, that's horrific. And I can't imagine that happening to somebody else. And I know that it made me hug you tighter, because, you want to make sure that if something like that, God forbid, God please no, ever happens, that the last thing that you hear from me is a loving, kind word, or a loving, kind sentiment, or, a nice hug or something like that. You don't want the last thing that, your spouse or your partner ever feels or hears from you is negative or unkind or not loving, because, you just never know. And like I said, I know that when this happened, this tragedy happened to your family, it put some things in perspective for me. As good as our marriage is, I was like, okay, you may have a good marriage, but do you have a great one? Do you have is it perfect? No, and it probably never will be. But if something happened to you today, I feel like you would know that I loved you no matter what, no matter how much sand you put in my bucket, and that I thought you were the best thing in the world, and I 100% think that if that tragedy had not necessarily happened to us so recently, I don't know that our marriage would have been as poignant. I don't know that effect would have been as poignant. So I hate the fact that it had to be a tragedy that happened to our family, but, it is true. You just never know when you might lose somebody.
It's just like the floods that happened down in Texas, and the parents losing their children. It makes you hug your children tighter. You hear something like that.
Yes.
But when it's close, it has an impact on you, and it impacted me pretty greatly. There was one day we were having a disagreement. It wasn't an argument by any stretch of the imagination, but we were, as we left the house, we were not exactly speaking to each other. And when we got to where we were going, I made sure that I gave you a kiss, because, and just said, you know what, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, we can disagree and still love each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, I'm not going to, if I were to walk in the door and fall over, I'm not going to leave it like that.
Yeah.
So it does have a profound effect on you, and it has on us for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
So I guess the moral of this whole thing, or the point of this whole thing is, man, make sure, guys, buy the flowers, send the flowers, right? Or pick the flowers. We have, I've picked our roses before and taken them to her, or set them on the table, or do something
texts.
Text, even a text.
Grab
yeah.
her hand when you're walking, in public. Those things are, I mean, I know that they don't seem like a lot, but they actually are. Those are the things. Those are the little things that, that's the good sand. Yeah,
right?
that's the good sand that you want in your bucket, because those things are, they're heartfelt sentiments. You want those as a female in a relationship, and as a male too. I mean, I know that he does not back away when I grab his hand in public. It's just the connection. You want to make sure that you're continuing to strengthen the connection, strengthen the foundation. Make sure that the distractions of life are not allowing those cracks. We don't want those. It happens though. It does happen. And I think that these little mini trips that you're talking about, and these little or these vacations that you're talking about, where you do reconnect, that's almost like a sealant. You know what I mean? It's almost like, okay, we may have
it's
a
like
little
the waterproofing on the wall.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of foam.
We're in real estate.
Yeah, we're in housing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but when you do that, when you fix the little cracks, because they're gonna happen. No one's here to tell you that they're not gonna happen. They are gonna happen. They're supposed to happen, and it's how you repair them.
Yes.
I think that actually strengthens the foundation of the marriage.
Absolutely. All right, all kinds of things going on in and around Pekin First. We are getting ready to start VBS. VBS starts Monday the 28th, which is this Monday. Today is the 24th. Yeah. So starts Monday the 28th, and it is all about race cars. If you haven't got signed up yet, email Miss Emmy at ets@pekinfirst.org, or you can email the church office info@pekinfirst.org as well, or you can register right online at pekinfirst.org. A lot of pekinfirst.org is there.
That's good.
We have the 200 anniversary of Pekin First coming up in 2026, so we're picking that logo. I encourage you to go to our website, go to Celebrate 200. Right there is the logo 1 and 2. I'm going to try to update the totals this weekend, and I might wait till after the weekend just so that we can get the final totals in. And but it's close, man. You need to, if you like a logo, you need to give to that logo. Transportation ministry. Let's talk a little bit about the transportation ministry. This is something near and dear to my heart because it supports not only supports the children and the youth, but it also supports the Maryville Festival. So transportation ministry is going to hold a training session August 30th, and that is at 10 a.m. If you are interested to show up, or you can contact Larry Bachman. Also, August 2nd, this is one of our favorite events. August 2nd, the St. Jude, that is the St. Jude Pekin to Peoria run. Yeah. And we know a lot of people in there. The booths are in there. The carols are in there. Whole lot of people are in there to help the kids. And Pekin First is a hard stop for the Pekin to Peoria run. Yeah. So they get a chance to, the buses pull up and they get a chance to go in and use the restrooms, and we give them water and things like that. We need to show up and show our support for St. Jude. Yeah. St. Jude is a huge, huge thing here in Central Illinois, and it's a great thing to help the kids. Yeah. And it helps so much. So let's cheer them on. That's going to be a hot day. Yep. So we need to cheer them on and make sure that they know that we support them and we love them. Yep. And just keep that going. That'll be the entrance on 14th Street is where we need to gather. Okay. So we'll do a little bit of a video on that later on. I think that's all. I mean, we got more going on. Check out our website at pekinfirst.org. Yeah. And just to see all the cool things going on, the calendar is on the left-hand side, and all the events should be listed there. Don't forget about worship this weekend, 5 o'clock on Saturday, and 8 a.m., which is a...
traditional service?
It is, okay. But it's a... Sean, I'm sorry. It has slipped my mind. But it is a shorter traditional service. And he's not here to correct me. It's weird. And then 10 a.m. is our contemporary service, and it is online as well. All right. I believe that's all the time we have for today. So remember, God put us here to do great things. So let's go do great things.